Again, not to put this uncouth, but
cheap.
he's a champ at fucking burning a lot. I mean, and that sounds bad, but he did it really good. Does that bad sound bad? Wait, what did I even say that to mean? Like, give me a fucking break. Holy shit. Didn't the guy do it because he wanted people to talk about it? Like that's what I'm doing.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Ah!
The leftist dialogue about this has been absolutely bananas.
By the end of the protest, he was black anyway. So, I think it's fine in that respect too. Read more theory about yourself before you say that it's bad, okay? If that's the case, why aren't they torching themselves? Why are they only torching their clothes? I thought this was honourable to do! Why are you being cowards and not torching yourself to a crisp? Why can't no one else see these cockroaches? Oh, ah! Ah! Right? These people should just perish, I think. If in 2024 you're still worried about masks, I don't care if you're immunocompromised or you got long COVID or whatever bullshit you say that you've got. I just think you're best off just like turning to dust and floating into the wind. Like, you know, you just haven't got it in you, have you? You know, you're kind of just fucked, I think. Immunocompromised anarchist. How are you going to be an anarchist and complain about people not enforcing mask mandates? Eh? What the fuck is that about? I thought you were an anarchist, you loser. So I just quote tweeted this and went, ha ha ha, this is stupid or something. And I kept getting these in my feed. I kept getting all these fucking tweets about, oh, I'm immunocompromised. Oh, please wear a mask or I might die. I'm so weak. I might get a disease and die if you don't wear a mask. Please, just put a mask on, I'm begging you. Fucking AIDS-riddled freaks. And then I saw this get posted. Oh. Oh, shit. They just got suspended. Dude, fuck's sake, man. I literally looked at this a couple of, 2 hours ago. Where is... Here we go.
Dan. Yeah, I've seen the video. And
Here we go. Right, we got it, guys. Right, finally. Here we go. H3 Snark. Oh, God, this looks like a totally cringe subreddit. Thank you. Right, here we go.
I've seen the video, and my first reaction is that, don't say rest in power, that's not for him. I see, the leftist dialogue about this has been absolutely bananas. My first reaction is this. It was absolutely insane how he, stood the whole time. That was crazy. I don't even know how that's humanly possible. Again, not to put this uncouth, but he's a champ at fucking burning a lot. I mean, that sounds bad, but he did it really good. Does that sound bad? We have to make levity of things. Does that sound bad that he was really good? I mean, but I mean that as a compliment. What the fuck are you guys angry about, you weirdos? What did I do?
Dude, it's so funny, isn't it, right? When Ethan Klein is like having a pop at Ben Shapiro or something, these people all fucking cheer him along. And it was funny. It was a funny joke. But obviously, the criticism there, he's kind of sorry about other things. Thank you for the super chat. No, I didn't get suspended. No. That was someone else. That was someone else who got suspended. But at the moment, he mocks Jordan Peterson crying, and they're all cheering along. But the moment he starts having to go at this with that same sort of edgy humor, all of a sudden these people lose their fucking mind about it. It's so pathetic.
My God, stop. They just say all I hear is Ethan no, but I don't understand what I've even fucking said. Oh, chewing? Yeah, I'll stop that. Maybe they just talking about the chewing. Could that be?
Yeah, that's probably it.
Wait, what did I even say that to mean? Like, give me a fucking break. Holy shit. Didn't the guy do it because he wanted people to talk about it? Like that's what I'm doing. My point is this. First of all, I was stunned by the way that he stood through the whole thing. I mean, shit, that was wild. And really showed his true resolve to protest in that way. I can only imagine that's just a horrific way to die, so pretty wild. That being said, I do not believe that it is good for people to be romanticizing or encouraging. I know it's not. I know people aren't doing that, but the way people are romanticizing it is kind of fucked up, in my opinion. The man,
yeah,
he himself, and I don't think we should ever talk about that issue with any kind of reverence, because let's be real, the amount of people online who are talking about it in this wonderful, almost I don't describe it. People are, trying to put where I put it.
Yeah, I've seen this get discussed, and it's like, if you're saying someone is engaging in an honourable act, right? although you're not saying go out and do it, right? There's an implicit suggestion there that that is a good thing to do because you're saying it's honorable. So this idea of like, it's not promoting it. You are literally fucking promoting it by saying it's honorable. You know, you don't have to be a total dickhead like I've been about it, obviously, right? You don't have to like make jokes about it. But at the very least, you can just say, yeah, it was like the wrong thing to do. That's not the right, you know, way to protest something or something like that, right? What about the Tibetan monks? Are they also crazy? God, that is the most stupid, retarded talking point that I hear, right? We're comparing people who were like stuck at the boot of oppression with no other option, and they were left with no choice, and they felt they had no other choice but to fucking burn themselves alive because of the oppression that they were suffering. It was the only way to bring attention to it, or in their mind at least, right? To a person that's in America in the military that could have done about 1,000 different things to talk about, protest, speak, you know, whatever they want to fucking do. Exactly, yeah, they didn't live in a fucking democracy. Whereas Aaron Bushnell did live in a democracy, wasn't subject to the kind of standards of oppression that these other people were, and he could have done a whole bunch of shit to talk about this. Well, I think that it is contextual, and there are certain extremely limited circumstances where I think it is something I'd look at and I go, okay, well, that's your only option. You know, I can understand why you do that, and I would see it in a different context, you know? But, I mean, in this case, yeah, we're literally just trying to compare apples and oranges and act like they're the same fucking thing.
People are idolizing him. More people are going to kill themselves. I mean, that's just a matter of fact. There's just more people going to kill themselves. I don't think suicide's funny. I don't think it's anything that we should encourage. I think it's pretty much always bad. And while I can appreciate his dedication, I mean, to put it mildly, you know, if I can appreciate his dedication and his conviction, right? I mean, unbelievable. Self-immolation is literally suicide. He killed himself. Sorry, I don't know what that's another weird dialogue. They go, no. Everybody goes, yeah, we agree, suicide's bad, get help. But then they go, unless you're doing it for a good cause, then you can kill yourself. Like, no, this is not something to romanticize ever. Sorry. You should 100% do more research on self-immolation as protest. Yeah, you know who does self-immolation? Fucking, people who are like under tyrannical rule, who have literally no way for their voices to be heard other than that.
Exactly. Yes. Like your life is so like, and that's why the kind of mental illness thing is an important part of this, because the idea is that self-immolation move is you've got no other choice. You're fucked anyway, right? You're in severe state of oppression, and so you're left with no other option. But this guy did have options, but he chose to kill himself as a protest. Well, yeah, then it's more reasonable that you might think. And also, I've seen people, I think I said this yesterday, people have been sharing his Reddit posts talking about how he was of sound mind. And his Reddit posts are the most dross, you know, fucking anarcho-communist bullshit, worst takes going. You know, sharing the idea that he was a retarded anarcho-communist is not a good sign that he wasn't mentally ill, okay?
Like, I'm sorry. Suicide bad. I don't think we should romanticize it. I haven't seen anyone romanticizing. Are you fucking kidding me? Have you been online?
Dude, there are like, there's like countless tweets, comments, endless romanticization, right? And then on top of that as well, you've got people making memes about it and idolizing this guy.
Glamorizing it. Oh my God, how can you even disagree with me on that? That's crazy. Like the amount of people online who are like, I understand why people want to go like, he's a hero. Like I understand that because he made this ultimate sacrifice in the most gruesome way possible, right? And so I understand the impulse of being like, I want to honor that sacrifice. Monks do self-immolation. Yeah, I know. When they're like under tyrannical oppression by the Chinese and have literally no way for the voices to be heard.
It's so insane it's getting compared to that as well. The
Palestinian cause is for sure plenty talked about.
That's the other thing as well, is that some of these causes that they're comparing it to, it's like it's not being spoken about. It's not being discussed on the broad stage. But like Israel-Palestine is been endlessly discussed for months and months and months now. I mean, just this morning, I've not looked into it in any significant detail, but there was like some alleged atrocity that occurred, and a bunch of people that were trying to get some sort of aid were killed under some circumstance. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but like that was like national news. I saw that on all the fucking news sites this morning. Like, this stuff is being talked about and discussed. You know, if an atrocity happens, or if Israel does something that leads to the death of like a bunch of civilians, it's spoken about widely. You know, there was one thing that was talking about how, you know, 25,000 civilians have been killed apparently, or something around that number in Gaza, and it's like, this is being spoken about and discussed. You know, like, you're not bringing extra attention to it by burning yourself to death. You know, it'd be like, I don't know. It would be like burning yourself to death to bring attention to the presidential election in like 3 months' time. In the midst of the fucking electoral process, I'm going to burn myself to death in order to bring attention to the presidential election. Yeah, we all know. It's all been spoken about all over the place. What are you on about, you fucking nutter? Okay, there's some more clips here, it looks like. Don't give them ideas. And what have you done for the lives of Palestinians? Literally nothing, because I don't care about them. I don't care.
Right. Thank you, Dan. Dan Button something.
The entirety of Gaza could be leveled and it would make no difference to my life. Good luck to all involved.
But do you see my point? You're with me, right, Dan? You didn't have to say what I said, but you know, Dan's with me. He did the button so that he could say off stream. He says, "I agree with everything you're saying." I said, "Thanks, man. It's nice to hear that."
Stop doing that.
I says, "I really appreciate you having my back on this self-immolation dialogue."
That's all good. That is all good.
I want to honor that sacrifice. Monks do self-immolation. Yeah, I know. When they're like under tyrannical oppression by the Chinese and have literally no way for the voices to be heard. But, I mean, the Palestinian cause is for sure plenty talked about. Certainly. What?
Well, the problem is, it's not just that it's for these people. It's not enough for it to be spoken about, which is why some of these people did these acts. Is literally just draw attention to the oppression that's afoot. It's that it's not being resolved to the satisfaction of the people that are protesting. You know, they want it dealt with in a way that suits their kind of views and ideology. And you know, unfortunate reality is that the world just isn't as simple as they'd like it to be. And you know, I'm not really an Israel guy. I think they're doing some fucked up shit. I'm not on board with what Israel are doing. I'm not like super well educated on it. But you know, I'm not like an Israel dude. I think what Israel doing is pretty insane at the moment. But like, it's just, you know, to think that you can just go, well, I don't like it, so therefore it should be resolved to my satisfaction. I mean, we're talking about a conflict that's gone on for generations, that's thousands of miles away. You know, it's just not that simple, unfortunately, as nice as it would be. You know, geopolitics is very complicated, and anyone that says otherwise is lying to you, you know?
What? Hello?
Sorry, I'm reading chat. I didn't realize my mic.
What did you read?
I was reading on Twitter earlier something that I think that you agree with me, that said that mental illness can be present and moral goodness can also be present at the same time. And I think that that's just like,
First reaction is this. It was absolutely insane how he like stood the whole time. That was
I think we
crazy.
saw this bit already, didn't we?
That's humanly possible.
I think we saw this bit. Okay, and there's one more clip here. It's all out of order, and I don't know what the deal is here, but I've done my best to present it. I saw people speculating that the reason that Ethan Klein... Oh, have you? Yeah, sure, link it, and then we can just do the whole thing. I saw people speculating that Ethan Klein turned off, because basically recently he said, please don't like clip and share my member only streams, and he was going to start taking people down that were doing that, right? Let's just do a whole segment on this real quick before we get into the main event. Okay, let's just fucking get this done. Let's maybe we turn this into something. I don't know. Okay. So for those of you that don't know, Aaron Bushnell recently self-immolated in protest of the atrocities that are being committed, the supposedly, as he called it, the genocide that was being committed in Gaza right now. Okay, listen, I'm not weighing in with all the different fucking what it is, what it isn't. Okay, I'm not into this geopolitics stuff beyond the passing interest in some of the drama that occurs off the back of it. Okay, but I'm not really an Israel guy. I think Israel is bad, but Jews are good. That is my opinion. Okay. Anyway, for those of you who haven't seen the video, he basically walks up to the Israeli embassy somewhere and he pours like gasoline all over himself. And then he sets himself alight. And he says the following: "Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Ah!" And then, you know, he burns to a crisp, essentially. So that is the that is the kind of shortened version of what happens. But by all means, you know, you can go and have a look at the video. It's out there somewhere. But it is quite, you know, listen, I've seen a lot of gore videos in my time, and this one was particularly difficult to watch. Like, it was quite a, you know, it's like, ugh. You know, the flesh was dripping, the skin was dripping off his flesh as he burnt to a crisp. God, it was horrendous. My personal take on it is, I think that's, you know, a silly thing to do. I don't think that you need, in a democracy, in a place where you've got the ability to speak and have your speech heard and give a take and go to say this, that, and the other. I don't think you need to do that. I think there's lots of other ways that you can exercise your right to, you know, free expression in order to, you know, say what you want to say about the world, and maybe even try and make change through working with politics and different political orgs and politicians, or even outside of the political system. You know, try and do things in your local community, do some lefty stuff, whatever. But this guy decided, actually, I'm going to go burn myself to death. Now, there's a lot of discourse about it online, and the kind of, you know, online far left have engaged in perhaps one of the most insane campaigns of like justification, excusing it, saying it's good, saying it's an honorable thing to do, just saying the craziest possible things that you could imagine about this whole situation. And I obviously covered it the other day when it happened on stream, and I was quite critical of some of these kind of perspectives and takes on it, because the idea that you would kind of say it's good would perhaps indicate that maybe more people should do it. In any case, not really personally a fan, okay? Not a fan of that action. I think it's bad. Obviously, I was making a lot more jokes the other day, and I've said a few things on Twitter about it, but I'm not looking to get into that right now because I just want to kind of get to this video, right? So anyway, that's the kind of summary of the Aaron Bushnell thing. Obviously, Twitter is a good place to go if you want to see very different, insane opinions about it, right? Now, Ethan Klein recently got into drama, which I covered extensively on my channel, which was between him and Hassan, because Ethan Klein has got like lots of ties to Israel. Like, his wife is Israeli, and she actually served in the IDF for a couple of years, which is, you know, you have to as a citizen of Israel. And he's, I believe, got family over there and whatnot. And of course, well, you know the rest, right? So he got into this beef with Hassan, where he had like this take of like, look, he's clearly very like progressive on the, you know, Palestine issue. He hates Netanyahu. He's very critical of Netanyahu. And he obviously is very sympathetic towards the plight of the Palestinian people. But because he didn't agree with some of the insane, unhinged takes that Hassan and the far lefties had, like, for example, you know, the idea that settlers are not civilians and are justified military targets, he got into some sort of disagreements with Hassan and Hassan's community. And again, it's all documented on my channel, and you can go and watch it and see what's sort of that. I covered it all, okay? Now, since then, a lot of far lefties have labelled Ethan as like a Zionist, which isn't really true. Like, that's a kind of insane thing to call Ethan Klein. It's very clear that he is against the actions of people like Netanyahu and the people that want to push settlements. Like, for example, he's very critical of settlements. You know, he thinks that fundamentally, like, obviously you shouldn't go and kill Israeli civilians and stuff like that, which I think is a fair take to me, I personally. And he's very critical of like the excesses of like the Netanyahu government and so on. But yeah, the idea he's like this Zionist is insane. He's clearly very critical of a lot of like the Israeli government and their policies and stuff like that. Okay. But now, whenever he talks about it, because there's a component of the far left that are insanely anti-Semitic, they will state that like Ethan Klein is some sort of Zionist for having, in many cases, pretty reasonable, balanced takes on the conflict. So anyway, getting onto this is a segment of H3's, I believe it was a members-only stream, and he talked about the Aaron Bushnell situation. Someone shared a clip on Twitter, but that account for some reason got suspended. So we're just going to have a look, see what he's got to say, and take it from there.
Okay, you guys want to talk about it? That dude...
What are you talking about?
The guy, Aaron Bushnell.
Oh, no.
That set himself on fire?
Yeah. I was saying I'll do a
Okay, that's wonderful.
Ice-T
But how do I
protest.
make
Thank you, Spitmeister.
You left. Fuck.
Okay,
Okay, you guys want...
became a member.
Thank you very much. I don't know what's going on there. YouTube chat is busted. Every time I go into it, it's annoying. Anyway, thank you very much for the support, guys. Let's keep it going. Also, bear in mind, you know, I've come to see this, and a lot of the lefties are critical of Ethan here. And listen, look, I've made lots of jokes about Aaron Bushnell, okay? And I think it's fine to joke about it. Whilst I really disagree with how the lefties have framed this, I do understand that people aren't going to like jokes about it. I get that. So I don't have a problem if people are upset about jokes being made about it, okay? I get that it's not a nice thing that jokes are being made about a thing that you care about, right? But Ethan Klein has always been someone who has poked fun and made jokes about controversial topics or, you know, things that people hold precious to themselves. So obviously, you know, he's probably going to have a certain take on this. We already watched a bit of it earlier, but obviously we're watching the full video now. And yeah, people are not happy with him whatsoever. So let's have a listen and see.
You want to know my real opinion about the Aaron Bushnell thing? First of all, I've seen the video, and my first reaction is that don't say rest in power. That's not for him. I see the leftist dialogue about this has been absolutely bananas.
Yes.
Yes. My first reaction.
What he's talking about there is that, and obviously I have covered this more extensively the other day, which you can go and see. But basically, rest in power, they say, should only be used in reference to black people that have died for the cause in some way, and that it's wrong to refer to a white person with that terminology. This is a pretty, like, there's been even disagreement amongst the far lefties with this, so it's not to act like everyone on the left thinks this, but there's definitely a component of people who think that you should only use rest in power if a black person is in question, which is obviously insane when you're talking about someone who has self-immolated, you know, killed themselves by burning themselves to death for a cause that you claim to care about. You're going to police the language with which they're referred to. I mean, that's just crazy to me.
Is this.
And as I've said before, by the end of the protest, he was black anyway. So I think it's fine in that respect too. Come on, stop it now. None of that. None of that today. Come on.
How he like stood the whole time. That was crazy. I didn't even know how that's humanly possible. Again, not to put this uncouth, but cheap. He's a champ at fucking burning a lot. I mean, that sounds bad, but he did it really good. Does that sound bad? We have to make levity of things. Did you say that sound bad?
The thing is like, it sounds bad the way he said it. He's obviously saying it as a bit of a joke. But I must say that watching the video, you know, I was kind of taken aback at how long he was able to stand up for. And I think it's something to do with the fact that as you burn, I think that like it has a certain impact on your body. Like it's such a shocking impact that it means that, yeah, you're kind of almost just there right? You kind of in you know, kind of ironic sense, you're kind of frozen in place in some way because of the impact it has, the shocking impact it has on you. Yeah.
Bad that he was really good. I mean, but I mean that as a compliment. What the fuck are you guys angry about, you weirdos? What did I do?
Oh no.
My God, stop.
His audience is not happy.
They're just saying, all I hear is Ethan, no. But I don't understand what I've even fucking said. Oh, chewing? Yeah, I'll stop that. Maybe they're just talking about the chewing.
Oh no.
Could that be?
Yeah, that's probably it.
No.
Wait, what did I even say that to mean? Like, give me a fucking break. Holy shit. Didn't the guy do it because he wanted people to talk about it? Like that's what I'm doing. My point is this. First of all, I was stunned by the way that he...
Do you know, when you see it so broadly as well, it's so funny. There were so many fucking utter retards that were trying to claim that the reason that Ethan Klein went so hard for Vosh was because he was trying to attract back like Assange viewers. And that was the whole point of him doing that, right? Which to me just seemed absurd and stupid. It seemed pretty obvious to me that Ethan was doing it because, one, it was funny, and two, he was obviously, you know, critical of the nature of what the images were and the previous arguments that were made. But then, also on top of that as well, he now goes on to make all these jokes about Aaron Bushnell. And I think Hassan did a stream and he was like praising this Aaron Bushnell guy and saying what a great dude he was for doing what he did. Actually, wait, I should be careful. I've not watched the stream. But yeah, my understanding is that he probably maybe wasn't as extreme as some of the crazy stuff on Twitter. But I'm fairly certain that he would have given like a positive review. He would have given a positive review of Aaron Bushnell's self-immolation. Let's put it that way.
Stood through the whole thing. I mean, shit, that was wild. And really showed his true resolve to protest in that way. I can only imagine that's just a horrific way to die. So pretty wild. That being said,
Caring?
I do not believe.
Oh no.
That it is good for people to be romanticizing or encouraging. I know it's not, I know people aren't doing that, but like the way people are romanticizing it is kind of fucked up, in my opinion. The man,
yeah,
he killed himself, and I don't think we should ever talk about that issue with any kind of reverence, because let's be,
I mean, obviously we listened to this a bit out of order earlier. I don't know if we heard this exact bit, but I mean, this is like a fundamentally just normal take. Yes, totally reasonable. And yeah, like what's wrong with saying that? It's a totally reasonable opinion. You maybe you disagree with it, maybe, but like to get mad at this take is crazy. Like it's totally correct that you should not promote the idea that, particularly if you're in a place like America or another Western nation with democracy and free speech, that that you should take the option of self-immolating. Like use whatever other tools you've got at your disposal to deal with whatever concern that you've got, like everyone else does, right? You know, there's been like mass protests, broad mass protests in America and the UK and other Western places for the plight of the Palestinian people and the plight of Gaza. But speeches, politicians, talking to politicians, putting pressure on politicians to try and get the outcome that you want, you know. It's almost like, it feels like sometimes with some of these lefties is they don't like that, you know, they don't like the idea that like, oh no, actually we need to have like a consideration of everyone's perspective in society. It's just, this is what I think should happen. It's almost like childish in a way. It's like, this is what I think should happen. Okay, Well, I'll protest. Fine. Well, you're not listening to my protests, so we're going to be violent and burn buildings down. Hold on a minute, right? Let's stop a second. Well, you're not going to listen to us then? I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to torch ourselves to death. We're going to burn ourselves to death until you do what we want. It's like throwing your toys out the pram, isn't it? Like, the reality is, we live in a democracy, and lots of different people have got lots of different perspectives on the world, and some of them disagree with you. And rather than reason it out and talk about it and debate it and understand that you can't just click your fingers and get the exact outcome that you want because there's other considerations and issues in the world, you know, they think, well, look, this guy had to burn himself to death because of that. Well, that was his decision and it was stupid because it's not going to have any sort of impact on the world. He's literally just killed himself for no reason. He's brought no meaningful additional attention to the situation. And he's just wasted his life and he's wasted an opportunity to do something with it, you know? That's tragic to me. It's tragic. Like, I'll joke about it. It's funny, yes. But fundamentally, it's very tragic that this has happened. And yet people are celebrating it and acting like it's honourable and promoting the idea that others should go out and do this. And it's not, I'm not talking about just like, oh, it's only like one person on Twitter or something. I've seen like the DSA tweet out like this about it. You know, I've seen big lefty organizations talk about it in this way. This isn't just some crazed whack job. This is what's so annoying in the modern day. Is a long time ago, this would be like whack job shit, right? You would hear people talk about this and they'd be some fucking kook, some whack job that's sidelined to the fringes of politics, and you'd be like, hey, you fucking nutter, what you on about? But now, like with social media, it's like a centralized point of discourse being pushed by large lefty orgs. It's insane. But anyway.
Be real. The amount of people online who are talking about it in this like wonderful, almost like, I don't know how to describe it. People are, trying to where I'd put it. People are idolizing him.
Okay, that's wonderful.
You're gonna, more people are gonna kill themselves. I mean, that's just a matter.
From YouTube? Don't even know why I'm banned. Assume I'm contrite over whatever the offense was.
I don't even remember partial pressure, but sure. Same username, right?
It's just, there's just more people gonna kill themselves.
Chud is buying into the Zionist. I've been called a Zionist repeatedly. People keep calling me a Zionist when I'm just joking about this stuff. What, dude? What are you trying to say? That Jews are funny? Is that what it is? You think Jews are just funny and that's why I'm a Zionist, because I'm funny about it, or what? I'm not even Jewish. I've got no background in that at all. And I'm not even that bothered about Israel. I'm not like an Israel guy at all. But I get called a Zionist because I make jokes about Aaron Bushnell. Oh, you're a grotesque Zionist. No, I'm not. I'm literally not. I just think it's funny.
I don't think suicide's funny. I don't think it's anything that we should encourage. I think it's pretty much always bad. And while I can appreciate his dedication, I mean, to put it mildly, you know, if I can appreciate his dedication, and his conviction, right? I mean, unbelievable. Self-immolation is literally suicide. He killed himself.
Yes. Oh my God. I've seen people say this. I don't know the name. There's like a bunch of people saying this. He didn't commit suicide. He self-immolated. That, like, no. Suicide just means killing oneself. Okay? Like, what is this fucking ridiculous argument that he didn't commit suicide? He did. It's literally what it means to kill yourself. What you're disagreeing about is the reason and the ethics and the morals of it, or some shit, you know, whether it was good to do, not good to do, etc. But fundamentally, he did kill himself. You cannot deny that. It is just what he did. That is the word that we use to describe that action. Oh, there's one person I saw. I unfollowed them because they just post absolute lefty dross the whole fucking day. So I unfollowed them. But yeah, they said like, he did not kill himself. He did not commit suicide. He committed an act of like liberatory revolution or something.
Sorry, I don't know what that's another weird dialogue. They go, no. Everybody goes, yeah, we agree, suicide's bad, get help. But then they go, unless you're doing it for a good cause, then you can kill yourself. Like, no. This is not something to romanticize ever. Sorry. You should 100% do more research on self-immolation as protest. Yeah, you know who does self-immolation? Fucking people who are like under
Oh my god. That's the other thing that I've heard that's absolutely insufferable. You need to do more research on this, actually. Before you say that, like, killing yourself for no reason, for a cause it doesn't really benefit, you need to do some more research on this. Have you tried reading some books about the monks that self-immolated? Before you actually criticize? Have you actually thought about reading about the issue? I don't need to read a fucking book or theory to tell me that burning yourself to death for no significant reason, okay, is a bad thing. I don't need to read no fucking books to figure that out. That's pretty easy to figure out for myself without reading a single thing. But these people insist that if you just read enough books about it, it would change your perspective, and all of a sudden you'd be like, yeah, actually, no, I think he did a good thing. So stupid, man. This is like another fundamental issue with a lot of these fucking retarded leftoids, is it can't just be that you've got a disagreement. Okay? It's that, well, you're wrong because you're not educated. The book is text is just, It's, well, we can't just disagree. No, you're just wrong about this. I'm right, and you need to read about it more, and then you'll agree with me. It is such a classic leftoid thing. And it's bad enough when it's like with other shit. But now they're doing it about self-immolating suicide. Read more theory about killing yourself before you say that it's bad, okay?
Mechanical rule who have literally no way for their voices to be heard other than that. Like,
yes, exactly, correct. Apples and
I'm
oranges.
sorry. Suicide bad. I don't think we should romanticize it. I haven't seen anyone romanticizing. Are you fucking kidding me? Have you been online? Everybody's glamorizing it. Oh my God. How can you even disagree with me on that? That's crazy. Like the amount of people online who are like, I understand why people want to go like, he's a hero. Like, I understand that because he made this ultimate sacrifice in the most gruesome way possible, right? And so I understand the impulse of being like, I don't want that to, I want to honor that sacrifice. Monks do self-immolation. Yeah, I know. When they're like under tyrannical oppression by the Chinese and have literally no way for the voices to be heard. But, I mean, the Palestinian cause is for sure plenty talked about.
It is like still, you know, like the most discussed geopolitics issue happening at the moment. It's so crazy to me that people are acting like this is not like a well discussed issue. It just is. You can't go on Twitter without seeing it being spoken about. I mean, maybe it's an algorithm thing for me, but like, I don't know, it's everywhere. Everyone's still talking about this thing. And there was no need to do it to bring attention to it. And in fact, I'm not even sure if that was his reasoning for wanting to do it necessarily. I thought it was to do with like he wanted Biden to call for a ceasefire or something like that, I thought. But yeah, anyway, like, it's funny to joke about it and I laugh about it, but I do think genuinely, to make an honest, genuine, unironic point, it is a tragedy. It's tragic that he was kind of, you know, led to this situation. And if you go and look at like his Reddit history, you can see it was all very misanthropic, like, you know, anarcho-communist bullshit that he was talking about. You know, it's very clear to me that this ideology that he was looking at and talking about and kind of investing in was at the root of like some of his issues. Because, you know, like, obviously I can't say to you, right, here's a post that he looked at where it said soldiers should redact themselves. But like amongst anarcho-communist communities, criticism of like the American military is extremely common. And a lot of these communities will push ideas that like leaving the military isn't even adequate and isn't even enough. But the only way that you can truly be a good American soldier is to redact yourself. And there's even some people, this isn't the common perspective, but I have seen some people, a small group of people, talk about this idea that, like, you know, why would I celebrate an American soldier topping themselves? You know, why would I? Oh, yeah, well, he's just done the right thing. Like, they genuinely think that him doing that is just the right thing for him to do. And that's like, should be the norm, that that's what American soldiers do. So I'm fairly certain that he was probably exposed to some of that mentality. And I'd imagine that, yeah, that probably had an impact on his decision to do it too. Thank you for the super chat.
£5 from Jim C. But what did Aaron think about Cobalt?
Good question. We'll never know. Thank you very much for this. Well, apparently he wasn't a Vosh fan because he didn't like how he dealt with the Professor Flowers situation. So there's that. So, yeah, I think that there's another angle to this where his ideology was not just stupid and dumb. It was also a fundamental level, an influence on the decision that he made. Hey, Peter, thank you for the $2. ACAB taken to its logical conclusion. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, just bad all round, really. And Evan's giving totally reasonable takes here. And the person got suspended, but the person whose clips that shared this clip was just saying how bad this is. Like, the lefties do not like this. They're not a fan of this take. Let's put it that way.
Chud Nation.
Hey, Tanker Kiss, thank you for the 5 gifted. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Certainly.
What?
What? What?
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Sorry, I'm reading chat. I didn't realize my mic.
What did you read?
I was reading on Twitter earlier something that I think that you agree with me, that said that mental illness can be present and moral goodness can also be present at the same time. And I think that that's just like, I don't understand when people say it wasn't suicide, just because I don't understand the logistics surrounding like the definition of it.
It's because you're right. It is because they're carving out a moral barrier for themselves to say, "Oh yeah, well in this case, killing yourself is great." But it's not. That's because it's not suicide. It is. It is. He killed himself. He has family. He has friends, presumably. He has people that are going to be affected by him leaving the planet in that way. It's suicide. It literally is suicide. He was a service member. Well, then, did he have any delusion about what the United States military was?
Just leave. Just leave the military then. I know that, like, I don't know how it works in the US. In the UK, you get put on, like, contracts and stuff like that if you're in the military and you have to stay a certain amount of time. But I'm obvious, you know, there must be ways to get out of it. I don't think you're literally stuck there and you can't do anything. You might miss out on your pension entitlement or something. But if it's a choice between missing out on your pension and burning yourself to death, I think you probably want to find a way to get out of that, no? You can't just leave. Just don't show up. What are they going to do? I mean, even if they arrested you and put you in prison for, like, the dereliction of duty or something. Hit an officer. Just go up to an officer and go, "You're gay," and slap him around the face. Dishonorable discharge. You're laughing. But do you know what I mean? There are ways and means that you can get out of that don't involve burning yourself to death. I would have thought.
The ones that like killed 1 million fucking Iraqis like a decade before.
Get your dick out and run around the barracks for a laugh. Something like that.
Why did he join? I think he was mentally ill. I think what you said is right, Olivia. I think he did something that in his mind didn't hurt anybody, and he made the ultimate sacrifice for what he thought was a righteous cause of paramount importance.
See, look, Ethan Klein is like totally reasonable here. He's made some edgy jokes about it, but like he's being very reasonable, and he's even demonstrating that he understands where other people are coming from with this. He's being very generous to like the other point of view too. And people are acting like he's just some Zionist freak that is just, you know, shitting on Aaron Bushnell's memory. No, he's actually saying, I understand where you're coming from, but I just disagree, and I think that suicide is bad.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think people need to be absolutely careful with how they fucking put him on a pedestal, because you're going to end, because more people are going to kill themselves. And I don't think suicide should ever be glamorized. Even when a fucking monk does it, and it's like, wow, it's...
Oh my God, are people really getting upset at me for my joking take about how to leave the military? Ah, yes, just go up to a senior officer, call them again, slap them. Then you get sent home. That's how the army works. Chud told me, and just look at Chud, you know, he's basically an SES expert. Could you not tell that I was joking? Obviously, I'm not saying that's what you should do. But the point that I'm making is you ought to seek out other ways and means of leaving the military if you don't like being in the military.
$4.99 from Airy the Weeb. You are basically stuck in the military if you join. If you just leave, there's lots of jail time and you basically cheat yourself out of any future.
Thank you very much for the $5. I don't know. There must be some way to get out of it. I mean, to be honest with you, he was a fucking traitor as it was. Did you see his Reddit post where he was laughing at other servicemen or like mocking a serviceman getting killed? You know, just go and look up his Reddit history. There we go. But yeah, I'm sure that, I mean, okay, even if it's true, let's say it's true what you're saying, right? And in order to leave, you have to go through some sort of jail time. At least you're still alive. At least you're still going to be fucking alive. Jesus. Carve out a career as a YouTuber talking about how bad the military is. Easy. Job done. That's 100% false. I served 24 years, and for decades it's been easy to quit the military. Are we going to have to look this up? Can I quit the military? Okay, I've got Quora answers. You got to serve 4 years. Oh, that might be the UK. No, this is, I'm getting the equivalent of, is Quora, which is the equivalent of Chatter's answers on it. You need to be discharged. ChudLogic acting. Okay, the perception, you're getting fucking banned. You're just a fucking absolute cretinous retard with nothing good to contribute. How am I acting like an expert? I'm saying, I don't know. I'm saying that I would imagine that there's ways to get out of it that don't involve burning yourself to death. Sorry, is that a crazy take? Is this a crazy take now? Oh, you should investigate other means to leave the military before you burn yourself to death if you don't like being in it. Is that a crazy take? What the fuck, bro? Do a Google search. Jesus Christ.
It should be more like, dude, that's fucking crazy. And it's horrible also. It is absolutely mental health. Then why isn't okay, people go, it's not a mental health issue. Then why the fuck isn't there tons of other people doing it?
Yeah, exactly. I saw a video on Twitter and it was all these like veterans or military people or whatever burning their military clothes. And I thought, hang on a minute. I thought Aaron Bushnell was of sound mind, and this is the right thing to do if you want to protest Palestine. If that's the case, why aren't they torching themselves? Why are they only torching their clothes? I thought this was honourable to do. Why are you being cowards and not torching yourself to a crisp and just burning your clothes? It's because you recognise that that was an extreme action that people shouldn't actually follow. God, people are so fucking stupid with this.
I'm sorry. You don't set yourself on fire. If he is a martyr, Jesus Christ. Some of y'all are lost. I don't know what to say.
Yep.
Some of y'all, I sometimes wonders if, like...
Oh, partial pressure. You're not banned on YouTube at all. You're not hidden at all.
I don't
know what's
man.
going on.
Chat is so fucking weird. I agree. People under tyrannical, so Palestinians. No, but they're people whose voices can't be heard.
Oh my God. Bro, this guy was a fucking Palestinian. He was in America. Why would you bring up Palestinians when the whole point is we're talking about a fucking American? Dude, these people are fucking nuts.
Also, the dude's not even Palestinian. If he was,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, nobody in Palestine is like going to the fucking barbed wire fence of the wall and setting themselves on fire. If someone did that, it'd probably be like, wow, that's like that would hit me maybe harder. Again, not to trivialize it. However, you have to be mentally ill to set yourself on fire. Especially, I'm sorry. Then why aren't people going and doing it?
Yes, exactly.
There's a billion people talking about Twitter, so why isn't there a whole fucking...
Yes, exactly that. If it's such a normal, a correct thing to do, and the right way to protest, and an honourable thing to do, why is a bunch of people not doing it? Because it's an insane thing to do. Or is it because Biden's America, fuel prices are too high? Maybe that's what it is, and these lefties don't have jobs, can't afford the fucking petroleum, gasoline.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
$5 from Jean-Luc Descartes. You can leave if you say you want to kill yourself. Source was in Starfleet.
Thank you very much, Jean-Luc Descartes. Appreciate it.
Congo line of people self-immolating outside of the Israeli consulate. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm someone that takes mental health seriously, and that's part of one of my fucking things. So like when I see people like romanticizing suicide and saying, oh, it's not mental health. It is absolutely mental health. You think of one of the... Let me think. I thought about it this way.
You do not have to be mentally ill to burn yourself. How else will you get the bugs off no one else can see? Yeah, that's what we don't realise.
Wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Thank you very much for the kick sub. Aaron Bushnell just had a bunch of fucking cockroaches over him. We thought he did. Why can't no one else see these cockroaches? Oh, God! Ah! Stop joking about it now. Come on.
How do I make money?
That's quite enough.
£5 from Jimsy. Lamau, these people can't afford the petrol and safety matches.
True.
Come on.
Thank you for the super chat.
If one of the guards was able to stop him before he lit the fire, do you think that in 10 years' time, he would have looked back and been like, man, I wish that my regret is that I didn't set myself on fire? Or would he be like, you know what, that guard, I understand what I was trying to do, and it was a righteous thing, but I'm happy I'm fucking alive and that guard stopped me. Like,
yes.
Like, which do you think he would be thinking in 10 years? More likely. That he wished he died in a fire at a moment of crisis in his life, even if it was for a good cause? Or that he's like, I'm so fucking happy I'm alive right now, and that somebody saved my life. Saved my life, quote unquote, whatever. Although I will say this, the video was insane. I cannot fucking believe the police are there. It's like, you can't, it can't ever stop being so ridiculous. A cop came up to his charred fucking corpse and pulled a gun on him. Did you guys see that?
Insane.
I was like, what are you doing, dude? He's sitting there with a gun pointed at this man's...
Listen, I got to be honest with you, okay? This might be a hot take. It's funny, and I made lots of jokes about it, right? But, like, when you think about it, it's not, like, completely unreasonable that, like, a cop might have that instinct. The funny part about it is, like, the guy was obviously toast. Sorry to say that, but, you know, he was toast, wasn't he? And they were trying to get fire extinguishers to put him out. And it was funny the way the guy turned to him. Was like, I don't need guns, I need a fire extinguisher. But, like, for all this guy knows, he could be a terrorist, he could have an explosive on him, he could have, I mean, obviously he was burnt to a crisp. I'm guessing that probably won't be that much of an issue what would have happened. But in any case, you know, it's not completely insane that someone might think, okay, this guy could, like, go for a gun or try and detonate something or something. I don't know. Like, he's working security. Like, his literal job is to provide security. He is securing the charred corpse of Aaron Bushnell to make sure he doesn't do anything else. You know, it's like, you know, like a shooting situation, like a school shooting scenario. They shoot the shooter, and then sometimes they're writhing about on the floor in pain. and they just put a few more rounds in them, and people go, oh my God, how could they do that? And it's like, well, from the cops' perspective, they're not looking to see if they've got a fucking gun tucked away somewhere. They're going to pull it out and fire a couple of rounds at you. You know, you're a fucking threat. You're like an active threat. And so they're just being cautious of that. So yeah, I think it's funny to joke about, and I've made plenty of memes about it myself on my own stream, but fundamentally, I don't think it's that crazy that he took that action. Yeah.
Shard corpse, it's still on fire.
Yeah, like a devastating metaphor.
I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? God damn. You're mentally ill, Ethan. You should answer why you're not self-immolating. That is something I need to think about. Egg white spinach wrap? That sounds good as shit. From where? You don't have to say the place. Oh, that place. Yeah, I'll take one of those motherfuckers.
Soldiers been killing themselves for millennia. Yeah, but then that doesn't track, does it? Because Aaron Bushnell, like if Aaron Bushnell wanted to go and fight in Palestine, people are like, oh, but then he'd be a terrorist. Okay, but he'd be alive. Well, he'd be alive for a bit, maybe. I mean, the IDF don't mess about. Sorry, the IOF, the Israeli Occupation Force is what I meant to say. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think that why not go and, or like the other thing I said was before was going to work for an aid organization in Egypt or in the region at least, you know, trying to get aid in or going and helping people or whatever the case may be. Like there's plenty of things you can do that aren't torturing yourself to death, but yet none of those really seem to be of interest to him, and he decided, no, I'm just going to torture myself to death. Actually, just it's a waste. It's a wasted opportunity, you know. And this guy did like charity work or some aid work with like an anarchist organization, apparently. So it's not like he wasn't aware of those options.
You know what I mean? Like I have this issue too when people go, someone like kills their whole family.
Oh. Well, anyway, listen, that is, Ethan's take, which I thought was pretty reasonable. Personally, didn't have too much of an issue with what he had to say there. But you have to take my word for it. But far lefties are not happy with Ethan Klein on Twitter. What we do have is a bit of a response from his own subreddit. Ooh, uh-oh. Normally I don't care about the opinions of Redditors, but it's just to give you a flavour of the kind of perspectives we're dealing with here. I don't think Ethan should wonder anymore why he doesn't get sponsors. Let's say hypothetically, Ethan's right and the self-immolation was due to mental illness and distress instead of an extreme form of protest. Does that make his jokes and stuff about it hit better? Okay, if this dude was super unwell and literally burned himself alive, should we be joking about it, especially right after it happened? I'd love to see this person's take when you get like a torrent of jokes from someone they don't like dying, or jokes about like figures that they don't like. Like, my perspective is joke about whatever. If you want to joke about anyone dying at any point, at any time, even the second after you find out they're dead, you're well within your rights to do that, right? I think celebrating death is cringe. Like when some fucking old fucker dies, 100 years old, some bad old guy dies, 100 years old, surrounded by the family, passing away peacefully into the ether, and people celebrate that. They won! That Rothschild's guy literally won. What was his name? He won. You lost. He died surrounded by his loved ones. The Queen. Joking about it, I don't care. We'll joke about whatever you want. That's my perspective. I used to say Ethan had good intentions, but honestly, what do intentions even mean when you talk like this about a dead man? Laughing and mocking self-immolation. Holy shit, I'm sorry, but this is psychopathic. I just think it's so crazy to me that the second they're exposed to edginess outside of their proclivities and outside of their beliefs, they freak the fuck out and they can't hack it, you know? Unquantifiable levels of disgusting, to be honest, from I guess it's a Hassan fan. Holy fuck, man. These people are insufferable. So this is why he wants to be in control of the members' streams, because he's a fucking idiot. So this is another narrative that I've seen perpetuated, is Ethan Klein asked people to stop uploading clips of his content, his members-only content. And the reason for that was because members were complaining that they could watch the content anyway via other channels. And so why were they paying for a membership? So to protect his income. We all know why Ethan's trying to protect his income, don't we? Because he's a YouTuber, obviously. But yeah, they're framing that as all, well, he just wanted to give these hot takes, excuse the pun, hot takes, and not have people see it. I had to stop watching. Jesus Christ, man. God, he really has surrounded himself with utter insufferable retards, hasn't he? Unfortunately, well, to be honest with you, Reddit tends to trend more soy, doesn't it? So this is probably like the worst examples of the people from his community that are weighing in on this. But yeah. The consequences of leftover. I mean, I think it goes beyond leftovers. I think he's generally trended towards a more kind of progressive bent and mentality in his content. You know, one of the biggest examples being when he took the Jordan Peterson interview down. You know, Jordan Peterson was right to say, eventually the soys will come for you, in as many words. And they did. But yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't think Ethan even said anything that crazy when you hear out his perspective. Was he making some edgy... Like, the only thing I would say, and I'm not being hypocritical here, because I've made jokes about it. I'll happily make jokes about it, and I'll continue to make jokes about it. And I'm not saying that Ethan shouldn't make jokes about it, but I at least understand that some people are going to want to see it treated with more respect, and you're not going to like jokes about it. That's cool. I get that. I think you should not be hypocritical on that, though, and accept no jokes about dead people, but that's your discretion at the end of the day. But, like, his whole take is totally reasonable. And he was very clear that he understood the alternative side, but just fundamentally, he just felt that it's wrong to valorize it. Because, yeah, you give the impression it's a good thing to do, and it could lead to other people taking the same sort of action. But yeah, totally reasonable take from him. Obviously, you know, reasonable takes these days are often attacked, aren't they? By people that are very invested in their political idea or cause. So, yeah. Anyway, there we go. We got a little segment out of that. I didn't expect that to happen. But there we go. We got a good little segment out of that. And one final thing before we move on from this. Who saw this? This gave me a little chortle earlier. Started therapy 5 years after a bad experience with a Zionist therapist. Saw woman of color, that means therapists, assuming relative empathy. So first of all, question. How do you spot a Zionist therapist? Unless they go into a diatribe about their belief in the fundamental belief in the right of the Jewish people to have a Jewish state or something. Like, how would you know? How on earth would you know they're a Zionist? Unless, of course, well, I shouldn't say more on that, just to be on the safe side. Jesus Christ, man. Mention Palestine, and new therapist sees it as just another place and not caring or being knowledgeable due to discrimination she faces in America, Lamau. And there's some discourse about this under the tweet. Frogan blocked me a while ago, so unfortunately we have to go in on the alt. But, like, this person makes a perfectly legitimate point. Therapy on my understanding of it, I've never been for therapy, but I thought it was all about, like, you're not going there to discuss current affairs. You're going there to discuss, like, you and, like, what's going on with your life and stuff like that. Why focus on external issues in therapy rather than delving into the external challenges you're facing? Most therapists I know would advise against discussing politics and religion during sessions for good reasons.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how
I mean, is that true? I've not been.
I
I just would have thought I wouldn't want to fucking... Oh yeah, let's talk about what's going on in Israel-Palestine, shall we? Thank you for the kick sub. Because I was explaining an internal challenge I faced pertaining to Palestine. That's not how it works. Therapists aren't here to coddle you as you talk through your thoughts about world conflicts. They're here to provide tools so you can do that on your own time. But in any case, you know, I've not been for therapy, so I can't say for certain. But I would have presumed that, I mean, I don't know if I'd want to fucking get into that with a therapist.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed
Topher, thanks for the super chat.
$9.99 from Mr. Frex. There's a shortage of mental health providers. Finding standard care providers is hard enough. Specialized WOC matching value mental health providers is rare. This is highly spoiled and entitled.
Yeah, right? Like, that is kind of crazy. It's like, oh, I need to have a therapist that shares my exact political outlook and worldview on a geopolitics, a current day geopolitics issue. And race as well. Yeah, it needs to be a woman of color too. Bro, it's so insufferable, man. God, these people are so fucking... Oh my God. Frogan is hands down the most retarded of all the Hassan orbiters. She's just a complete and utter fucking imbecile. Like, remember when she tweeted out when on October the 8th or 9th or something, and she gave like the most retarded take, but then couldn't grasp and understand that what she'd said was like validating the actions of what had happened on the day. She just couldn't seem to grasp it. And I don't think that was like her pretending. I think she's genuinely retarded and just doesn't understand, you know? But yeah, she was very obviously celebrating what had happened, but didn't seem to get exactly what that meant. Who are the smart orbiters? Oh, good question. Not sure. Not sure if I've got an answer for that, to be honest. Yeah, Frogan's completely fucking stupid. But yeah, anyway, just a little funny addendum to this drama.